Hello, Lethal Weapon 5 here, bringing the review of a Glock 22 Generation 3. You know, we all had different flavors and different tastes, so I'm not going to force my taste on you, and I hope you will not force your certain taste or brand or gun on me. I'm just here to give you some reviews and talk about my experience with these firearms that I've had. You know, I'm not military, not police officer. I'm just a regular civilian, Joe Blow. I live every day, just like everybody else out there, to have day-to-day routines. And, I like to shoot guns. I've been shooting guns for 5 to 6 years, since I was 18. I'm now 24, going on 25. So that's a long time to shoot guns and experience with guns. But let's get back to the review on the Glock. This was my first handgun that I ever purchased. I've had it for about 5 to 6 years now. Very good weapon. As far as jams and hiccups, I can always say it's only had one jam, and that's because the magazine was dirty. I did not clean it for a year. I shot about 500 to 600 rounds within that year through it without cleaning the magazine. And like I said, it had one double feed, and that was the magazine's fault. Once I took it apart and cleaned it, I did not have no more problems with the magazine. It is a very functional weapon. I use this as my carry weapon every day. I carry it in the waistband, in the small of the back. I carry this gun with the C-Tac holster. I find it very comfortable to carry because of the fact that it is polymer and it does not weigh that much as a 1911 or some other guns out there that can weigh a lot on you with that carbon steel or stainless steel, because that is a very heavy metal. Where this is just a polymer frame, it's not as heavy. It makes it a lot more comfortable, especially when you're carrying in the waistband. And it is a full-size gun. I mean, for a compact like a Colt Commander maybe, and other guns that are a little bit smaller, it would not be so hard. But me personally, I prefer to have a full-size gun when I'm carrying. I just like the feel of the whole gun in my hand. Now, there's nothing wrong with the compacts and subcompacts. They're all great guns. Just, it's preference. Everything you come down to is preference. It's like Glocks and XDs. Everybody has their preference. Some people hate Glocks and prefer the XDs. Some people are 1911 people. The Glock is a very well made gun. I mean, this name actually sticks out for itself. If somebody says Glock, it's got a reputation behind it. It's a very old gun. It's been around for a very long time. I know on the Glock website, I've pulled it up, it reads that the Glock introduced the G22-40 in 1990 and effectively closed the gap between the heavy .45 auto and the internationally proven 9x19. Glock was the first manufacturer to make this popular and effective round accessible for law enforcement agencies today. Police agencies across the U.S. and countless others throughout the world put their trust in this 15-round pistol. I mean, a lot of police officers have went to the Glock 22. I know here recently that a lot of them have been going to the Glock 21 in some areas and some police forces. But I know Louisiana police forces, Alabama police forces, there's several different police forces that have actually used the Glock 22 for their everyday carry gun when they're doing their duty, on-duty weapon. It's a very good gun, very reliable gun. Like I said, had it for about 5 years, and 5 or 6 years, and all that time I've had it, I've only had one jam in it, and that was the magazine's fault, and that was lack of maintenance. That was actually ultimately goes to me for not doing good maintenance on my gun. Glocks don't require a lot of lube, just a little bit of lube, and it's not very hard to maintain. There's lots of videos on there if you look through YouTube about the Glock being submerged in salt water, being dropped from a plane. This gun has been through a lot and tested a lot from other users, as you can look on YouTube. So it speaks for itself. Its history, its track record, all these things. There's some good, there's some bad reviews out there, but a lot of people, one thing I noticed about a lot of people is they want to comment and say how it's a plastic grenade waiting to happen. It's going to blow up in your hands. It's going to kill you. It's going to do all this to you. I personally do not think those people have ever actually shot a Glock. If they did, I don't think their review or they'd be saying it's a plastic grenade waiting to go off. A lot of people have opinions and judgments about things because it's made of plastic, which is not. It's a hard polymer. So it's a hard plastic. But I mean, it's never blown up in my hands, and it's never done anything to make. It's never got. I never felt it get hot in my hands either, like it's gonna blow up like a grenade. So people have a lot of pre-ideas that plastic is bad, but you know, a lot of the firearms nowadays, and current firearms are actually going to polymer. So I mean, it's kind of picking up here. If you notice, a lot of the Smith & Westerns they're coming out with, the SIG is a little made of plastic somewhat. I mean, I don't really know much about SIG. I'm not a SIG guy. But there's a lot of firearms out there that are adopting the polymer thing. Now, Glock was one of the first to adopt the polymer. And it's a very long gun. It's been out there for a long time. You know, the specs on the Glock are it's a 40, safe action. Length is 204 millimeters, or 8.3 inches. Height, 138 millimeters, or 5.43 inches. Width, 30 millimeter, or 1.18 inches. Barrel length, 32 millimeter, 1.26 inches. And, you know, I'm giving you the specs here because, you know, a lot of people, they want to know all they can about it. I'm just going to go ahead and skip through this and go ahead and say that as far as specs that I want to know is unloaded. It weighs 22.93 ounces. That's unloaded. Now, the gun's not much use unloaded, so we're going to look at loaded. Loaded is 34.39 ounces. So, I mean, that's a little bit of weight. It's not a whole lot. I mean, but any gun, you know, the stainless steel guns and the carbon steel guns, they weigh a lot more than that, especially when they're loaded. The barrel length is, let's see here, barrel length is 4.49 inches. So, I mean, it's not a 5-inch barrel. It's most of your guns nowadays are 4.49 inches. There is some 5s out there like the government model 1011 and a few others. HK Tactical, I believe. I have to look at that. It may be a 5. That's a gun I own. I'll look at that and find out. Standard magazines. Maybe a question about magazines. The Glock 22 standard magazine is 15 rounds. And you can modify it to a 17-round magazine. That requires the removal of the spring and replacing of the base plate to add 2 more, which would be a little bit, it would stick out a tad bit here, it would stick out just a tad bit, but it'd be more like a grip if you need that extra grip down there. I use Winchester XMP, I believe it is. The FBI approves it, the expanding hollow point. It's a very good round. Functions good in my gun and the Glock. This has been the review of the Glock 22 from Lethal Weapon 5. I hope you enjoyed it, and I have some more coming soon.